We have one more question, that is means how this budget will help a salaried employee, because most of the salaried employees will be looking over the budget. What will they get a benefit out of a budget?
Right. Most of the salaried and working professionals feel that
Are there any income tax benefits to MSMEs? Because MSMEs are the backbone of an Indian economy. Uh, will this budget will be helpful to MSMEs?
yes, two, three things for MSMEs in this budget which are observed.
Contributors to the Indian economy, the startups. How this will be helpful? This budget will be helpful to the startups.
So in startups, there are a couple of amendments wherein
Hello everyone, good evening. Today Nirmala Sitaraman ji, the Finance Minister, has presented Union Budget 2023. To discuss in detail and to have a quick questions with the finance advisor, here we have with us CM Jithendar Patel. He is a practicing chartered accountant based out of Hyderabad. Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Good evening.
Hi, Santosh. Good evening.
Hello. Good evening, sir. So, what is your take on today's Union Budget, which has been presented in the morning session, 2023? Means, what is your opinion?
Yeah. So I feel the Union Budget was pretty straight. The government intentions were very clear in the budget. They want better governance for the people. They want ease of doing. They want to improve on ease of doing business in India. They were trying to focus on the healthcare, making a sustainable cities, and so on. So my view is the government is very confident and they are forward looking. They are very serious about fulfilling the promises which they have made to the people. Having said that, somewhere I felt the accountability on the part of the government is missing, in a way that had the budget in any case, if they have said that this was promised in the last budget and this has been achieved, I felt this was missing. So I feel in that way the budget let little down. Having said that, the budget overall was very good. The intentions was communicated very clearly.
We have one more question, that is means how this budget will help a salaried employee, because most of the salaried employees will be looking over the budget. What will they get a benefit out of a budget?
Right. Most of the salaried and working professionals feel that they are paying maximum taxes, and the business class people just get away with paying low taxes. And the government has also bought in a new tax regime wherein a lower tax rates were proposed. Having said that, the new tax regime has not taken off to the expected level. Because the advantages of the old regime was much better than compared to the new regime. So I believe that nobody would have filed their income tax returns, or very less portion of the people would have filed their income tax returns on the new tax regime. I think the government understood this, and this time they have bought the new tax regime, which is very attractive, wherein up to 7 lakh rupees, if you are having a total income, you need not pay any income tax on it. And the slab rates have been reduced to only 5. So and the basic exemption limit also has been increased to 3 lakhs. Under the old regime, still we have the basic exemption limit of 2.5 lakh. But if you are opting for new tax regime, the basic exemption limit is 2.5 lakh. So in that way, the new tax regime for employees has been made much more attractive, and it is also made a default tax regime. I mean, if an employee wants to file his income tax return, then the default tax regime would be the new tax regime. And if he wants to opt for the older one with exemptions and deductions, ATC, and so on, then he has to opt for it. So this is a welcome news for the salaried employees, I would say.
Okay, good insight, sir. And also, I think this is not helpful for the salaried employees who opts for the old scheme. Means government majorly focused on the salaried employees who opts for the new tax regime,
Correct.
wherein they will not get any benefits like exemptions and the deductions, right?
Correct. They will not be eligible for any deductions and exemptions. So government doesn't want. I mean, I think they want to make the life of salaried employees very easy. They should file the income tax return with a click of a button. That's what it thinks so.
One more question, sir. Here, are there any income tax benefits to MSMEs? Because MSMEs are the backbone of an Indian economy. Will this budget will be helpful to MSMEs?
Yes, 2-3 things for MSMEs in this budget which I've observed. One, particularly for agriculture, not agriculture. In the income tax law, there are the payments to MSMEs will from the next financial year will be allowed only on the payment basis. So currently this provision is applicable only for statutory payments only, like ESI, PF and so on. But there is a new provision being introduced under the income tax law, wherein if you are not making payment to MSME within the stipulated time as prescribed in the MSME Act, then the deduction will not be allowed for such payments. The fine details of the provisions is we are just to read it, but that is what I understand. So that is a welcome move for MSMEs. So this will help MSMEs to receive their payments on time. Right? Yeah. So this I think is the major thing, and a lot of financing facilities are also being made available to MSMEs. More funds are earmarked for MSMEs in the form of collateral-free loans to MSME. So those are the two advantages I see in the budget for MSMEs.
Did you find any new thing apart from expenditure to diesel allowance from the previous budget to current budget towards MSMEs?
Yeah, one more thing I just remember is presumptive taxation. So the presumptive taxation limit earlier was 2 crores limit for any businesses, and now it has been increased to 3 crores for business. And for working professionals, the presumptive taxation limit was 50 lakhs. So this has been increased to 75 lakhs. So this will again help MSME. So under presumptive taxation, you need not maintain any books of accounts. You need not comply with the TDS laws and other laws, income tax law. So it will make the life of MSME much easy.
Fine. Means this presumptive taxation new threshold limits will be applicable only to the MSMEs, not to other entities and all.
Not exactly other entity. It will be applicable to MSME who are below the 3 crore. Of course, MSMEs are MSME 250 crores. It can be classified as MSME if they are having turnover below 250 crores. So this I'm just talking about the micro enterprises. So in MSME, the micro enterprise, they will be greatly benefited by this provision.
And the next thing is majorly contributors to the Indian economy, the startups. How this will be helpful? This budget will be helpful to the startups.
Yeah, So in startups, there are a couple of amendments wherein you have income tax benefit up to 3 years in a span of 7 years. If your startup is registered under 80 IAC of the Income Tax Act, I mean, you have to get inter-ministerial permission to get the income tax benefit. So that this income tax 100% income tax benefit was available for 3 consecutive years out of a span of 7 years. So this 7 years has been increased to 10 years. So the startups can now claim the income tax benefits for a consecutive period of 3 years out of a 10 years instead of 7 years earlier. So that was one amendment in the budget. The second amendment is also the carry forward of loss. I mean, under the income tax law, if the shareholding, when the loss is incurred and when the loss is adjusted against profit in future, if there is a change in shareholding, I mean, if the shareholding decreases by 51%, then the loss cannot be carried forward. So this provision has been not applicable to startups. Startups can set off the loss against the profits. The period was again 7 years. So this has again increased to 10 years as per the budget. Yeah. So these are the two things for startups in this union budget.
Okay. This will be helpful for the startups. So majorly when there is a share transfer, their losses will be carried forward over a period of 7 years.
Correct. Yeah.
Yes. So any changes in the GST law and the compliances?
Yeah. So in the union budget, GST law, they're trying to fix time limit for filing GST returns. Currently, you can file GST return up to you don't have a time period. You pay the late filing fee, and you can file your income GST return at any date. Same is applicable with the annual return. You can also file your annual return after the due date by paying late fees. So with this budget, they are bringing the time limit to file the GST returns and annual returns. It is the time limit is being fixed. So no much major changes under GST apart from these changes. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your time sharing the key insights of a budget on a comprehensive basis. What is your final thoughts on the budget?
Yeah, final thoughts. Yeah, good budget. I mean, the government is very optimistic on the growth of the country in the next 10-15 years. It is very optimistic. The growth forecast is very good, and the per capita income of people will certainly increase going forward. More and more opportunities will be there for people, job seekers and all. So yeah, it's a good budget, and I'm looking forward for it. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you once again. This is Santosh signing off.
Thank you.